Okay. Hello, and welcome to Penn State Shenango, VenturePointe, and the eCenter at LindenPointe in Hermitage, Pennsylvania, Reynolds Services presentation. My name is Georgia Macris. I am a business faculty and program coordinator at Penn State University Shenango campus. I also coordinate programming for the Invent Penn State initiative. VenturePointe is a business incubator within the Invent Penn State system. A brief introduction about Invent Penn State is, it was launched in 2015 by Penn State President Eric Barron and is a $30 million initiative that redefined the university's land grant mission to include entrepreneurship and innovation programs, tools and resources that accelerate the entrepreneurship and innovation programs, tools and resources of great ideas to the marketplace and make a substantial economic development impact in Pennsylvania and beyond. Invent Penn State is a coordinated effort that spans the university's 24 campuses, all academic colleges, including the College of Medicine and Penn State Law. Countless Penn Staters have joined in the efforts to what has quickly become a burgeoning entrepreneurship ecosystem at Penn State, and one that provides excellent resources and support to faculty, staff, support, and community innovators. Currently, all 21 Penn State undergraduate communities enjoy free access to accelerator programs, co-working space, legal and IP advice, mentorship, rapid prototyping, pitch competition, and funding. Annually, in November, Penn State University celebrates Global Entrepreneurship Week, which celebrates relationships between members of our university and the local entrepreneurial communities. GEW programming is being offered virtually, so no matter where you are across the Commonwealth or in the world, you are able to attend events celebrating community entrepreneurship and innovation. You can see the full schedule at Penn State GEW Week invent.psu.edu. Tonight, our presenter is John R. Frangakis, who currently serves as chairman and CEO of Reynolds Services Incorporated and its subsidiaries, a leading US-based metal packaging services center. He has a long history in the packaging and containers and information technology industries. He graduated from the Wharton School of Business of the University of Pennsylvania and has an MBA from the University of Pittsburgh. In 2019, he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Science degree from Thiel College. Please welcome along with me this evening, John R. Frangakis.
All right. Hi, Georgia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, for joining us this evening and sharing your exciting story.
Yeah, honored for the invitation.
Thank you.
So I guess Georgia gave me what she said was an easy task at hand, which was one, talk about the 30-year history of Reynolds Services, Inc. Two, talk about how innovation has played a role in the company's success. And three, try to wrap it all up in 30 minutes. So I'm going to do my best to meet those goals. But to do so, I better not spend too long on my introductory slide. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and keep moving forward, as the slide says. A little bit about me. Who is John R. Frangakis? As you already heard, I have a Bachelor of Science in Economics with a concentration in marketing from the Wharton School of Business. I have an executive MBA from the University of Pittsburgh, and very proud I was awarded an honorary Doctor of Science degree from Thiel College. So we've gotten to know each other for a whole 30 seconds here, I guess, a minute. We're friends. You can feel free to call me fake Dr. John if you'd like to do so. That's what some of my friends do. Nice friends, right? Have often been described as a serial entrepreneur. So there's that. Most people will be interested to see on my LinkedIn profile that that's the top thing that I say. I define myself as an entrepreneur, but also very proud to be chairman and CEO of Reynolds Services, Inc. and its subsidiaries. And I have 30 plus years of experience in steel and the metal packaging industry. I enjoy spending time with my wife, Teresa, and my daughter, Isabel. And I am a self-proclaimed computer electronics and home automation projects tinkerer. My wife will tell you that I start too many projects and don't finish enough. I am an Apple fanatic, which you will learn as we go along. And in fact, probably to a fault, I believe that if you don't have an iPhone, then do you really have a smartphone at all? And last but not least, I am a Disney enthusiast. Especially I love Disney parks and Disney movies. And if this were in-person presentation, I'd probably talk your ear off if you asked me any questions about Disney. But we'll spare you that part of the presentation today. A little bit about Reynolds Services. So Reynolds Services is a family-owned and operated metal service center. Again, 30 years. And it was started by my family when I was in college, and I was lucky to be involved in the business from the initial business planning stage. And really over the years, we've become dedicated to supplying a quality product and providing solutions to our customer. And we really look at that holistically. So we look at the whole product cycle from how do we get from steel to a container or whatever concept to a finalized product. We have a pretty diverse customer base, and I thought this would be some interesting information to share. You probably don't really think much about what we do, but what our customers do. Our customers make sanitary food, pet food cans, aerosol cans, corner bead for when you're doing drywall, caps and closures, tab stock, a lot of automotive customers and composite can and customers. So here's, just a few pictures of various products that our customers make. We're proud to be a part of making these products, whether it's food cans, decorative tins. But when you see us on the shelves, it's more what our customers have done. So I love this slide, and this is a fun one. It is made by a local artist from Hickory High School who was here on an internship, Max Baker, and Max made this for me. And this kind of sums up, especially in the metal packaging space, what Reynolds Services feels like, right? We're kind of like little can man there in the bottom right-hand corner. And we feel like we're going to take on this big, giant dragon or beast of plastic packaging. And we're on a noble quest. That's one of the things we do. We're on a noble quest to, make the world a better place with sustainable metal packaging. Every package that you have that's metal can be recycled and turned back into steel and turned back into something else. So, we really feel that that's a big part of our success, and we're excited to be a part of that. But, we can feel a little bit like little can man in the bottom right-hand corner, but he's our hero. And of course, I think that means that eventually we'll prevail, right? Again, so in the metal packaging space, the question really is, who is Reynolds Services? And people that know us from day one think of us as a tin mill service center, and that's very much a core part of what we do. However, over the years, we've been able to evolve and acquire and vertically integrate, and we really define Reynolds Services in this metal packaging space, as someone that can take you from a product design all the way to a finalized container. In the design space, we offer pre-press and prototyping services that really speed that process up. So when you've got an idea for a metal package, You can get it onto the shelf faster. We do that through our MERIDIAN Design Studio subsidiary that's in Youngstown, Ohio. Our second area of focus is sourcing. We develop sustainable domestic and international supply chain solutions for our customers around the world. And we focused on this largely through our corporate parent, Reynolds Services, Inc., that's located in Greenville, Pennsylvania. And finally, our third area of concentration is process. We specialize in processing that adds value to and supplements our customer capacities and capabilities. We focus on this area through, again, Reynolds Services, Inc. in Greenville, Pennsylvania, through RSI Tinstar, which is our subsidiary in Baltimore. Both of those do shearing, cutting of coils. We'll show some pictures of that in a couple minutes. And then RSI Metallitho in Greenville, which does our metal coating and decorating. And then hopefully in the process, we'll add to those capabilities sometime in the future, but that's not a discussion for today. So design, we do this again through MERIDIAN, and this is a really cool innovation that I'll talk about a little bit later, but they do everything again, from designing to 3D scanning to 3D printing. A lot of the stuff that we see that is happening in the eCenter at LindenPointe in Hermitage, Pennsylvania. And we're excited to be able to say that we're doing these types of things here in the Shenango Valley. When we talk about source, I talk about Timmo products. That's my family's background. You can go back to my grandfather's immigration paperwork when he became a U.S. citizen, and right on his immigration paperwork, 1918, says tin mill worker. And it's not a business that I ever thought that I would be in, but here I am. So family's been in it for quite a bit of time. But tin mill products, hot roll products, all kinds of different steel products, aluminum, are really what we specialize in because we are first and foremost a metal service center. I just wanted to give you a little bit of feel for what we do in terms of processing. We might take a big coil that's 36 inches wide, 20,000 pounds, and slit them into a bunch of 6-inch wide coils. And that might be for like a pull tab on an easy open end for a can or something like that. This is the family's original business that we started with, which is we take the coils, we cut them into sheets. The sheets could be rectangular or shapes. And then now, as of the last couple of years, we go ahead and print those sheets. So you can see on the right-hand side, there's some cracker tins that are being printed, and this metal in particular will end up in Puerto Rico, and our customers will make cans that they put crackers in. I wanted to share something, and it was this quote, and it's, "If you can dream it, you can do it." And this quote, it's often attributed to Walt Disney. Indeed, you can purchase merchandise throughout the Disney parks and online with this quote. And the attribution to Walt is after it. I've got one on my desk that you can see. But I hate to say that this quote is a bit of a lie. If you research this, it's actually attributed to Walt Disney Imagineer Tom Fitzgerald, and I believe it comes from an extinct Epcot in attraction called Horizons. And it's something that he said, and I know if you watch interviews with him, he'll say one of the great honors is that actually he has a quote that everybody thinks that Walt said, and that's good. I'm part of the team, and I'm happy for it. But I think as an entrepreneur, we need to realize that the dream is one part of the formula, and there's many things on top of that. It's not like, again, Disney Parks fan, it's not like you have a dream and Tinkerbell comes and throws pixie dust on it and you're good to go. That's really not what this is all about. And I think there are many parts to it. If you can dream it, you need to have the dream. But then also, people are going to tell you you're going to have a business plan. I had a college professor. He always came in. It was an entrepreneurial management class. And he said, The bank doesn't just give anyone money. You have to have a plan. And on top of that, like we said with Tom Fitzgerald, it's very important that you have a team. It's important to give credit where credit is due. So I'm going to get to show you and talk about a lot of really cool stuff, but the company's success is not just my success, it's the success of all these team members over the years that have contributed. And, that's really been one of the great blessings of my tenure here at Reynolds Services, is I can say that I've really worked with really amazing and talented people. When I look at my job, I think I have one of the coolest jobs there is, really, to be honest with you. My primary job is to look at my team and look at the strengths and everybody's strengths, what their unique gifts and talents are, and figure out, okay, how does this puzzle fit together, and how do we put everybody together, figure out what they need, get them what they need, and work towards a common goal. So team is so important. And lastly, I wanted to, this is obviously innovation, but innovation, I think, is very important. I think I could use that interchangeably with agility. A business plan is really great. I've written a lot of business plans over the year. I don't think my business plan ever got it right once. A business plan is a mental exercise. It prepares you for what if this happens, what if that happens. It gives you an intimacy with your business that otherwise you may not have if you didn't sit down to think things out, but you need to be able to adjust to market changes, to demands, to team changes, and quickly meet or exceed customer expectations. So that's my take, a real quick take on innovation. And the speech today was supposed to be really about how innovations fit in. And so I like to think that we've built at Reynolds Services a corporate culture that embraces innovation. So I couldn't pick these. So what I did was I polled the employees and I said, hey, what are our top innovations? What do you feel over the last 30 years has made the most significant contributions? And we came up with this list here. So they said systems innovation, advanced manufacturing, innovating processes, and augmented reality. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to take, and that's what I'm going to run with when I speak tonight. So innovations, I guess if you know me around the Valley, I think these days I'm more known as Isabel's dad than John, but people tend to think sometimes that I have an actual computer science degree because I'm known for playing with computers and what I've done on the system side of various things. But that really it's just a core part of what we are. As a business, we're always trying to look, how do we do things better, smarter, faster, let our employees concentrate on making the things that as a business we make and make them better. So this was a list that I boiled down into systems innovation. We use iOS devices extensively throughout our manufacturing facilities. It's a really good metaphor for if you look at employees and you look at the lunchroom and you look how they work. This was an argument that my father and I had years ago. He said computers will never work on the shop floor. And I said, well, go to the lunchroom and look, and you will see that that's what everyone's using, Dad. So we'll find a way to get this to work. So we have real-time product tracking and integrated updates using our systems. Our customers, sometimes they like customer personalized product or tagging. So, we have tickets that actually show the end user what the product is going to look like. That way, the person on the forklift driver on the other end can actually easily identify what's in the product without having to read anything. Very early on, because we adopted iOS devices, we changed our product barcoding to QR codes. It helps us with efficiency and time savings. Traceability is a real big deal in food packaging and metal packaging. So we went ahead and put in a system so that, God forbid, if there's ever an issue, we can trace it all the way back to what coil came from the mill. And then other things here that I'll kind of skip over: automated shipping notifications, daily reports, dashboards. They're all things that our customers or our employees and our customers have said, these were major innovations. I'll let you look at this real quick before I move on, but these are just some screenshots of what our production reporting system looks like on the shop floor. Some of the information on traceability, maybe what a ticket might look like to an employee. There are even more advanced tickets like this with pictures and color and stuff like that I had mentioned. Some dashboard examples or iOS examples. This is one of our newest projects on the right, which is a quality dashboard that allows you to, there's a big TV hanging over the production lines essentially, and you can see quality test readings in real time and make sure that everything is in specification. And if you want to learn more about this, I can only show you so much. Hopefully you can see the barcode. Feel free to go ahead and scan that with your camera, and that will take you to an article in the Northwest Industrial Resource Center that they wrote on Reynolds Services and their systems. But it was a very flattering article. We appreciate it. And our systems have been featured. Our ERP systems have been featured on various websites, and I just thought the NWIRC was a really great one if you wanted to get a little additional taste of this. So advanced manufacturing, that comes from our acquisition of the MERIDIAN Design Studio over in Youngstown, and they had a lot of capabilities when we showed up there and acquired that business about 2 years ago. And some of these things I won't go into: pre-presses, artwork, doing artwork for metal containers, but 3D scanning, 3D printing, and those are really what we think about when we think about our suite of advanced manufacturing capabilities. Industrial grade 3D scanning, just as a real quick introduction to this. This is really just scanning a real world object so that you can recreate it in a computer space. This could be really important if you're doing something like trying to recreate or re-engineer a piece of equipment. I have a lot of older equipment that the parts are no longer necessarily sold. So, we can go ahead and recreate drawings by using something like this. If you've got a broken gear, obviously you can apply artificial intelligence to that to recreate the broken pieces. And this is something that's rapidly advancing, right? We're all walking around with iPhone, or a lot of us are walking around with iPhone 12s, 13s, and they have the ability to scan objects in the real world and recreate models in a three-dimensional space. We're doing it on an industrial level with really tight tolerances, and that really is the difference right now between what we can do and maybe what you're walking around with in your pocket. 3D printing, a lot of people, it's interesting, if we're involved with Penn State or the eCenter or LindenPointe and VenturePointe, this is something that is second nature to us, right? We understand what 3D printing is, but a lot of people don't. So just to review it real quick, it's really the construction of a three-dimensional object from some sort of CAD file. I love this. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I consider this to be like the replicator in Star Trek too, right? When you go up, you ask for something, and you get it right away. Jean-Luc Picard would go up and say he wants a hot tea, and he'd have it right away. That's not what happens here. This is, I want this part, hit print, come back in the morning, and I've got it. So that's a really cool thing to be working on. When I told my father that we were looking at purchasing a company that did 3D printing, the first thing he said, "What are we going to do now? We're going to make toys." And funny enough, I do have a toy here. We are actually printing toys for a Toys for Tots campaign. So, but that wasn't really the plan. The plan was parts and what we could make for ourselves and make for others, especially with the older equipment that we have. I'm going to breeze through this just in the interest of time, but just some examples. We can print in plastics, carbon fibers, and something unique to us that maybe not everyone that has a 3D printer has the ability to do. We have the ability to print in metals. So in addition to the carbon fiber and the plastic, we can print in stainless steel, copper, Inconel, A2D2, and H13 tool steels. And it really gives us a lot of flexibility. We can create parts like those that you see here. There's a QR code in the upper corner. You can feel free to scan that if you'd like to look at any of these. Since I can't pass around samples, feel free to pull up that webpage and you can look at any of those pictures in greater detail and learn a little bit more about what we do. We can use 3D printing not only for parts, but also for prototypes. So, if our customer has a can idea and they don't necessarily want to tool up right away because it's expensive to do that, we can go ahead and start with something like what's on the left and eventually come up with a product that looks like what you would buy when you go to a store shelf. And I might have a better example of that in a little bit. Our employees also felt that the team felt here that innovating processes was a big part of our innovation here. So it's not always just what you make, it's how you do it. And this was an interesting one to me, the first one, and it is something that had a profound effect on me. One of the employees said, changing how we think about ourselves and how we benchmark our company. That could be a really innovative thing. I remember when I was young in this business, I had a customer come in for an audit, and they were so kind. They said, John, your family's built a great business here. And when we look at you compared to a steel mill, we know you've got a background, your family has backgrounds in steel mills. You've got a great place here. We're going to ask you to make one change. And the one change was, can you start thinking about benchmarking yourself off of what a can maker or what a food processor would be looking for? And that's a major paradigm shift. That's thinking about how your housekeeping is, food safety, things like, good manufacturing practices. What are the things that we do? So that was a very nice way to say, you're great for what you think you are. Now start thinking about yourselves differently. And that's a paradigm shift. And it's really an innovative way of thinking about yourself that really has served us well over the years. When we couldn't offer multiple services to our customers, one of the things that our employees said they thought was innovative is that we were willing to go out and contract for all these services and put a single invoice together for our customers so they could get an end product from us, even if we only did one thing in the supply chain. And that helped us build better relationships. And that goes into the next point, which is vertical integration, vertically integrating to meet customers' needs. When my family started this business in 1990, it was very much, coils went on one side of the line, they got cut to length, and they came off the other end of the line. And when we think about a can making process, maybe that's 1/3 to 1/4 of the process. So then, the next thing was we decided we needed to coat and decorate. So we started in coating and decorating steel because our customers, that'd be where the steel went next. They'd go ahead and do like the cracker cans that I shared the pictures of. And then we said, okay, well, somebody needs to design it. So that was the next thing that we did. Next thing is we were the first certified or SpecMetrics certified processing facility in the United States. SpecMetrics is a specific piece of quality equipment. And you can learn more about that with the QR code here by going to rsi.com. .biz, but there's a pretty neat blog article on that. But it's just 100% real-time inspection of coatings to make sure that they're compliant with what a food customer requires. Old testing methods required that you get a sample, you take it off the line, you destroy that sample to get what the test result was, and then you go back and you do it again, and you get 2 or 3 of those out of every 1,000 sheets that you're running. And SpecMetrics was something that we decided to do, that it's 100% inspection, it's non-destructive, and it lets you know that you're complying with customer specifications. And then the last one is adding processes that typically are found at our customers' facilities to add value to the supply chain. So, our customers may have disaster recovery issues, capacity issues. So we've said, you know what? Well, we know that you take these sheets, and the next process is that you make them into smaller sheets. We'll do that for you. And that's something that a capability that Reynolds Services has that all of our competitors, maybe around the country or around the globe, don't necessarily have. So our employees felt that was innovative, and if it matters to them, it matters to me. So that's why I mentioned it. Augmented reality. And augmented reality is very interesting. It is an up-and-coming technology, and something that we're going to hear a lot more about. But we mess around with it with games and stuff like that now. But how are we using augmented reality in our operations? Well, we're really using it in 2 ways. The first is machine placement and space planning. So, if we're thinking about buying a new piece of equipment or piece of quality equipment, we're actually using augmented reality and looking through our phones or our iPads and saying, okay, how does this fit into the operation? How can we place it so that we can anticipate any issues moving forward? And the second one is augmented reality prototyping. And this is something that COVID kind of forced us into thinking about. It was, okay, well, we've got dispersed work groups. We've got people that can't get together. We've got supplies that we can't get. And how do we give somebody a representative sample of a product if we can't do all these things? And we sat in a room and we said, well, we can design the container, but as opposed to maybe 3D printing it or getting a metal container and then trying to digitally print on it so that we could give it to, whatever brand, so they could see what it looked like on a Walmart or a Target shelf. Okay, let's create that. Let's add software development, because we know a little bit about that, and let's add some computer animation, and let's see if we can come up with something that looks like a real product. And so what I'm going to show you next is, before I give you a chance to play with it, is an augmented reality prototype. The left is what it would look like on your phone. In the middle is, one of our employees looking at that augmented reality container on a conference table. They could look at it, they can move it around, they can take pictures of it, but it's not really there, which is just the most amazing thing to me. And then last is a picture of an augmented reality can next to a real cup on a conference table. And you could imagine that if you had a can, you could actually, like this on your phone, you could go into Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, and actually take a picture of it on the shelf and see what it looked like on the shelf. This was an entry into a Can of the Year contest for prototyping last year. It is, I will call it, one of my best failures ever. They told me that I could not be, or the team could not be considered because it wasn't a real can, but I think the end product was a real success. Unfortunately, I can't give you all any technical support, but you are welcome to pull out your phone and scan this QR code. Hopefully you can do that, and you can actually see this on, unfortunately, iPhone right now only. But I told you I was an Apple fanatic, right? So you can use this on an iPhone, and you can place one of these containers on whatever work surface that's in front of you. Yeah, it's really neat stuff, and something that I think our customers will be seeing more of us in the future, especially when you're asked to create a prototype. We can obviously create physical prototypes, but there are limitations with 3D printers in terms of size. The reason this was developed was a customer said, I have this 5-gallon racing fuel can and I need a prototype of it. And that and COVID is what really steered us in the direction of starting to create augmented reality prototypes. So back to Max Baker original here, moving towards the future. What are we looking at moving forward? Well, I can tell you that, as we start to wrap up, one of the big things is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we have products or projects that our engineering and our software developers are working on right now, where, say, when we receive a truck of steel, what can we get from just a picture? Maybe we can take a picture of a truck, and the machine or artificial intelligence will recognize the U.S. Department of Transportation number on the side of the truck, and it'll know who the carrier was from the metadata that's in the picture. It'll tell us what time and what date that steel was received. We take a picture of the tag, and then all that information is relayed into our database system. It's real stuff that I've actually not rolled out on our floor yet, but certainly our team has been working with implementing, hopefully in the near future. And so lastly, the reason for my title of my presentation and a quote that has had profound influence on why and how I approach things is this one. And this is a real Walt Disney quote. And it's around here, however, we don't look backwards for very long. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. And that's, right there in the middle. Keep moving forward. You know where this came from if you saw the movie Meet the Robinsons. I told you I was a Disney fanatic, especially movies and parks, and I just love this. It plays into the philosophy of really how I try to do things here. Is we are curious. We've got a great team with really great talents, and we would have put as many of those talents to use as we can, so that we challenge everybody and keep them interested in what we're doing. And that curiosity, we just never know where it'll take us. And some of it were the things that we mentioned previously. So with that, I would like to, again, thank you all for the invitation. And I was really honored that I was asked to do this. And I'm very willing to take any questions.
Okay, so John, I see several questions in our chat. Are you able to see those questions?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Give me a second.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What a great story you have shared with us this evening. Very informative, very insightful story. And, for all aspiring entrepreneurs, what we talk about over and over, that when someone has an idea for solving a problem, when you identify a pain point, as you talk about how you did, how you can work at your idea along with having that passion, the dedication and the hard work to put into it, the way that your company has to be successful.
Yeah. So I guess our first question is what about pushback?
Okay.
And have I seen any pushback on trying to implement change through innovation? If so, how have you found success? It's interesting. I guess when I was younger, I think the thing that you need to keep in mind when you're innovating is you need to be respectful of what you're trying to accomplish, who it could potentially threaten, and you know, so those are things you need to think about, but I always try to think about what's the hook too. You know, when I did ticketing, or when we did ticketing as a team, we were very upfront with everyone that the purpose of this is not to eliminate your job. The purpose of this is to make your job easier to do. You know, I want you to focus on making better quality steel sheets, and not worrying about whether, you know, Mindy or whoever from the office is going to come and yell at me because my paperwork is right. You know, the paperwork is not your purpose for being here. Unfortunately, it's something that you use to communicate what you've done. So, but that's not your purpose as part of the team. So, yeah, you try to be respectful of who it can affect. You need to be respectful of what's in it for everybody, you know, because you want to be respectful of the individual and then the company's goal as well. And I think there's a type of innovating, I guess. I use the term in the beginning, agility. And when you talk about maybe computer development or something like that, there's a type of computer development or software development called agile development. And that's really giving you little pieces as opposed to here's version 1, here's version 2, and it's a big change between the two. So what I found is a slow evolution when implementing an innovation, whether it is, you know, changing the software that someone using or some of these other things. That's a good way to do it when it's practical to do it, is spread it over time. I had an employee tell me once, you know, it feels like nothing ever changes, but you look back at where you were a year ago and you're someplace completely different than you were. So a lot has changed. It just doesn't necessarily feel like it in the moment. How do you educate yourself on what new innovations exist? So I am not a book reader. I'm horrible about that, right? I think the last thing I read was a Harry Potter play. I can't remember which one it was. But I'm a voracious reader of technology, articles, software, articles, those types of things. So yeah, I read a lot. And you know, the other thing is you go do these things, you don't always get them right. You know, sometimes you're too early. That's what I usually find. It's not that it's a failure. Yeah, I might fail in the moment when I'm trying to have the team adopt a particular technology or innovation, but sometimes that's just usually we're too early. So don't be afraid to come back and revisit those failures, learn from them, and maybe eventually the technology has caught up where it's practical to apply those. So, yeah. Have any of the current cybersecurity trends changed your approach to adopting new technology and innovations? Okay, well, that's interesting. Okay, so I mentioned I'm an entrepreneur. I consider myself an entrepreneur. So one of our other endeavors is we own a computer consulting business locally, Cross IT Services and Solutions. And so I'm really paranoid about cybersecurity. I definitely think a lot about it. But I also am fortunate enough to have a whole business that's watching out for me. So if I ever get too far out on the ledge, they will usually pull me back in, and then I need to figure out whether it's worth fighting for, or whether I should take a step back and let the firewall gods be a little more conservative. So that's how I handle it. I got a great team. I'm going to push the envelope as far as I can. I'm going to be mindful of those because I do have that business, and I've seen what others have suffered or what they could potentially suffer and what some of their threats are. but I have good people watching out for me too, to make sure that I don't go too far and get too risk averse, or, so. How are you managing input cost inflation with your supply chain? Wow. Okay. Steel is a tough one. So our primary costs in metal packaging is going to be the cost of the steel. Secondary would be the cost of the coating. The type of steel product that goes into our product is usually on an annual contract basis. So the best thing you can do to manage your inputs is be a good negotiator, I guess. We have one of the best for us, I think, working in purchasing. But it's tough. Steel inflation, unfortunately, our cost of steel at the beginning of 2021, we just concluded our negotiations for 2022, and I would say the minimum increase was 100%. It is a major number. It's a number that kind of scares me, but it's where the market's at. And so, when you put the steel and everything aside, innovation is your friend, right? Innovation is your friend in terms of managing input costs, because you're trying to find ways to do things that are more efficient, that provide, even if you don't get it on the front end, maybe on the back end, you get it with quality. If you're putting out a better quality product because of innovations that you've made, then you're not going to have as many claims or customer complaints, and you're going to have better customer satisfaction. So, it's a team effort. I hope that answers that question. Yeah. And I think that's what I see for now. I don't know if we have any more.
I think there's a few more. I see a couple more in the chat.
Well, I can see a few from Matthew, but I think I've answered all those. If you have any more, you can feel free to ask me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that, John, you have given us so much great information about your company. I surely am very impressed. I know that when, my experiences in business and industry, and when I dealt with your company, it was your original company that was founded in 1990. So I'm very impressed to see all the different directions that you have grown. And I know from my own experience in business, and from a practical viewpoint, and also from an educator viewpoint, what we teach, you've covered it all, because you've got to really be flexible and have that agility to pivot and to really metaphorically be able to see what's coming around the corner. So what we say, you have really discussed all of these different areas and shown great examples for everything that that I've experienced in business and industry, and what we teach at Penn State in our business classes. So we thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent presentation. And we thank our viewers for being with us this evening. We have people chatting in the chat box. Thank you for all of the great information that you've provided, the great examples. And I'm sure we can go back and scan all the QR codes.
Yeah.
Because the presentation is recorded. And I think too, aspiring entrepreneurs, just to be aware out there that if you're a Penn State resident, invent Penn State, Penn State Shenango, many community leaders are willing to help serve as mentors, but we have an excellent path for an entrepreneur to take an idea and for them to help put that idea to the test, to actually ideate at the eCenter and to test that idea in the marketplace. And then with various resources that are available to residents through the Invent Penn State. So if anybody has any questions about that, please feel free to email me at Penn State Shenango, gxm32@psu.edu. We also have all of our information on the Penn State Shenango website, where this event will be recorded. And also it will be available to view again at the eCenter at LindenPointe in Hermitage, PA. So on that note, I thank you, John, and wish you and all of our viewers a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, and look forward to talking with you again. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye.